point, I'd like to turn things over to our sponsor just for a couple of minutes about our friends at Verra Mobility. Kanani?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Kanani Souza, and I'm an account manager with Verra Mobility. So a little bit about Verra. Since 2006, Verra Mobility has been helping the city of Mesa enhance traffic safety, utilizing red light cameras and speed cameras at 18 intersections and 7 different schools within the city. Along with helping the city enhance its safety with the streets and the schools and school zones, we also support the city's economy. Verra Mobility is actually headquartered in Mesa, right next to Mesa Riverview. So our local employee base consists of 360 employees, many of them who reside in Mesa and in the East Valley. Working in Mesa and being close to Mesa Riverview and downtown Mesa gives us a lot of different places to shop and visit throughout the city and some really awesome restaurants to eat lunch at. In addition to our longstanding partnership with the city of Mesa, we also support this road safety camera programs for Chandler and Scottsdale, along with other communities across the country, such as Boulder, Colorado Springs, Seattle, San Francisco, New York City, Memphis, Tampa, and Orlando. Those are just a few. We are actually the nation's #1 road safety camera company, providing for 160 clients and 5,300 red light, speed, school bus stop arm, and bus lane safety cameras. We are proud of the many years that we've been able to help the city of Mesa keep its communities safe, and we are proud to call Mesa our hometown. Now, without further ado, please help me introduce Vice Mayor Freeman.
Thank you, Kanani.
You're welcome.
All right. Vice Mayor and Katie, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and I've shared the screen so you can go ahead and start your presentation.
Yeah, and thanks to Verra Mobility, that's in my district. So District 1 extends to Riverview and all the way over to the Union. So yeah, your red light cameras are loved and hated in our community.
Oh, I hear.
So, hey, we put together a little PowerPoint here and thought that we'd run through some things for you to generate some questions. And then obviously we can talk about the specifics. So there's District 1. I think it'll be redistricted once the census comes out, and we'll kind of, well, anyway, the lines will change, the geographical boundary. So kind of as a baseline to the South, University is my baseline at Alma School going east. Alma School at University goes north, and then it goes down to Rio Salado and everything north to Rio Salado to the 101 and encompassing the Union, the Riverview Park. The Riverview Park there is one of the most participated parks in the city and in fact the Southwest. But then as you can see, if you can see the map, and then a University is the south. There's some cutouts for District 4, but otherwise everything north up to the 202 freeway. Jalapeno Bucks is on Val Vista, on the west side of Val Vista, and that's in my district. So yeah, it's about 80,000 constituents in each of our districts throughout the city. We've actually grown. I think we are 500 and around 10,000 now, according to the census preliminary figures. So I just thought I'd run through some of the, okay, I've got the word. So let me talk about some development here in District 1. The Union is at Riverview. It's west of Dobson and the 202. You'll see the building there. It's a 4-story building. Lincoln Properties is building it, and the completion should be done pretty soon with a company moving in. I forget the name if I can remember it, but I'll think of the building or the business that's moving in there. At Waypoint, as maybe Verra Mobility might know, that there's discussion to put a 5th building in the center of your parking area in the middle of the complex. So currently there are 2 2-story Class A office space buildings and 2 3-story Class A office buildings. They want to put a 5th 3-story Class A office space in the middle of Waypoint with a parking garage to the south along the freeway.
Mark, do you have other slides, or are we still on the first slide? Because I'm just seeing the very first one.
Well, yeah, I don't have another slide.
Oh, okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing, we weren't missing something.
Well, yeah, I just gave you, here's District 1, and then if you want to kind of look at District 1.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So going further east, Blandford Homes is putting in a subdivision. If any of you have gotten citrus in the Lehigh area, out the Lehigh, it's called the Orange Patch on Lehigh Road. That's currently was owned by CMEX. It's been sold or being sold to Blandford. They're currently going to put a brand new subdivision there, about R15 properties in there, parcels. And so that'll be on the north side of Lehigh Road, and that'll be annexed into the city. On the very end of Val Vista, if you look at the map, Val Vista will terminate. It goes over the 202 freeway, and the very kind of right dog leg there is Tyler Farms. They currently have stables and riding facilities for people there. That's under contract by Woodside Homes, and they are planning to put in some more single family residents up there, more executive type housing. The reason for that is because at Falcon Field District, I talked to the Boeing, some of the Boeing people, and they're lacking housing for their engineers and new hires. And so they have to commute from Scottsdale or Gilbert to the Boeing facility. So hopefully these new parcels and home builders putting in new homes there will generate more people living for and accessing Falcon Field as a business district. Let's see, just a little further east at Recker and Thomas, the city has been selling the about 100 something acres to Blandford Homes for new development there. So with that, are there any questions about any more development, or on that? I'll move to the next page.
Anyone have questions?
No question.
Mark, can you explain what the union is?
Yeah, thank you, Sally. It's a 3-phase Class A office space complex. The first building is 4 stories, and it's going to kind of horseshoe from the east side. They'll build a building in the center of the complex, and then on the west side over by Sloan Park. And it will be all Class A office space buildings with 2 large parking garages, and hopefully bringing in, once it's completed in the next probably 6 years, 6,500 new jobs to the Riverview area, and let alone what Waypoint handles today. Waypoint has a lot of businesses there in their Class A office space. So the union will be a full build out Class A office space complex.
Cool, thank you.
On a further note, on North Center Street, north of McKellips, we are planning what we call the North Center Sports Fields. It'll be 5 or 6, depending on the funding and the way the bids are coming in, maybe 5 sports fields, which will allow soccer, competition soccer, lacrosse, your other field sports. So it's a generic fields that will encompass mainly soccer. Soccer is a huge demand in our community. We have 1,000 hours per week of unused or requests to fill our sports fields, and we can't do that at this point. So this portion, the city owns almost 5 acres frontage on Center Street, and then it'll go west towards Country Club, and then north towards the 202 freeway. It's kind of a larger parcel. It'll be about 25 acres. And we're excited about that. That's in the design phase right now. Hopefully the build out will be starting this year. The construction with use starting in the spring, late spring or early summer. They have to plant the turf in there is actually planted and it'll have to grow. So another thing we just got off a community Zoom meeting about, again, the multi-use paths on our canal banks in conjunction with SRP. This is a trailhead starting at McDowell, and just if you get off the 202 on and off the 202 at Gilbert Road, well, just east of Gilbert Road. As you come up the hill, Lehigh Road turns down the hill, and right below the hill there's a parcel of ground there that will be the new trailhead, and we will renovate that trailhead to accommodate a Ramada, parking spaces, and landscaping to get on the canal there and go all the way out to Val Vista. And it'll go, what we've found, there's underpasses, so we don't have to get anybody up on the roadways, utilizing the underpasses at McDowell. Let's see. And there's actually one at McDowell, and then all the way at Val Vista, there's another underpass. And then there's another underpass under the 202 freeway. If you can kind of see this pointer, the pointer right here goes underneath the 202. Then it goes parallel with Tyler Farms, and it heads northwest to the Val Vista cul-de-sac, and there'll be a parking area there, and the Val Vista trailhead. And then you can go all the way along the river bottom. And I know it shows a bridge going over. There's the Thomas Road Bridge here where it says Phase 2 Future Path. We will utilize that and then come back around on Lehigh Road and then around the pit that was dug and then back to the trailhead here. So that's a Phase 2, but Phase 1 is in the works right now. We've been meeting with the homeowners in the Lehigh Crossings group. There's about 1,100 property owners all through this area and around Vulcan Materials. So this will be one of the newest, and there will be a lot of historical, interpretive type signage there, and it will show the mountains, when the canals were built, who built them, the Hohokams, and others. So there's a lot of history up in this area and with views, and you can take this canal and go all the way out to Granite Reef Dam if you want to get on your bike or ride your horse or just go for a long run. You can go all the way up to Bush Highway and Granite Reef Dam. Oops. Anything on that, the multi-use path?
Any questions? I think that's exciting. We need more connection.
Yeah, we're trying to really leverage we just passed the transportation, what bond was it? Well, a Parks and Rec bond, and so this was part of it. So we'll, in conjunction with SRP. Just let you know, our HHW, our Household Hazardous Waste Material Center is open Friday from 7 to noon and Saturday from 7 to noon. It's at Center Street, just north of the 202 freeway. Have any of you used the facility out there? Well, you should.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. I have. It's great.
And if you're Mesa residents, this is just a valuable asset. I mean, we used it Saturday, and yeah, you can dispose of everything except dynamite, okay? But then, hey, we're going to start our blue and green barrel recycling. Our green barrel is actually in pickup now. We have a vendor taking the green waste, but the blue barrel is October 26th. So we encourage anybody to start recycling and get rid of or give us the material that you have for recycling. So we have a mesarecycles.org right here that we'll discuss. You can get the link there and know what to put in the blue barrels.
So the green barrels that they were picking up in our neighborhood today, that green stuff isn't just going to the dump, it's actually being green recycled now, because it wasn't before.
Yeah, they're just starting that, Karen, to, now, I could stand corrected. They were combining the green and the blue barrel together, but now they're separating that. Let's just say by October 26th, everything will be separated again.
Okay.
All right.
It's important to know so we don't throw other stuff in the green thing, because for a while it wasn't, being green, so.
Yeah, and the whole thing is our vendors were starting to charge outrageous fees, and then the recycle facility burned down at the Salt River Indian landfill. And
Mhm.
so the transportation costs got really exorbitant, and we had to stop doing that for a while, but now we're back on track. Homelessness, I would like your input. These are some homelessness in my district has, well, I shouldn't say homelessness, panhandling. Let's use the word panhandling. These are some signs I'm entertaining to let us know when we're traveling about panhandling, and some of your input would be great, and you can send me an email. These are just some of the things that we have. I'm doing a pilot program, a lot of panhandling off the 202 freeway at Dobson, a little bit at Alma School, more so at Country Club. But we're going to place these signs on Country Club, seems to be our corridor from University north to the 202 freeway. I know other communities, Scottsdale has one, panhandling signs. Some say text, instead of giving text to this number, and you can give to a local charity. Some of our nonprofits who assist with homelessness. Currently, we have our navigators in our city and our boots on the ground. Some of our police officers reach out to those who are panhandling and offer them social helps. And we want them to know that we are here to help them and not to cite them. So we do have outlets for them in the community. So here's some signs. Gilbert just started theirs, maybe 3 weeks ago? And again, Scottsdale has some, and then I don't think Tempe does, but what do you think? Any ideas?
I have some, but do you want me to write to your office with them, or do you want to hear them now?
What's our timestamp on this?
I have a meeting this afternoon.
I hear that Katie has a meeting this afternoon. So why don't you give us some, if you want to shoot us an email too at katie.brown@mesaaz.gov. Could you do that?
Yes, I can. I can do it when we get off of this thing. Yeah.
So, Vice Mayor,
Yes.
do you have any of the information on how some of the CARES money is being employed in this regard? Because I know some of it is. And I think that might help people understand a little bit about some of the efforts that are happening.
Yeah, so there's a broad spectrum on the CARES money. We have leveraged to give them more money to our nonprofits to help reach out, more money for our navigators, to hire more navigators to reach out to those coming into the community that need help. Food is being provided with our CARES money. We have actually housing that we are doing with our CARES money. We're doing, and are you talking specifically about homelessness or about, I mean, if you really want to know everything, Sally has all the answers.
Well, let's just say I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of tossing you a little bit of a softball, because I mean, I'm privy to a lot of the stuff that's happening in regards to that. And I just thought that you might want to talk a little bit about some of those efforts, because those efforts are impacting those in need in our community in a huge way. Things that are happening with Paz de Cristo, things that are happening with United Food Bank,
Yes.
Things that are happening out in other districts other than yours, but also things that are happening direct in your district. And I think that's an important thing that people would want to know about.
Well, and Bob, that's a good question on all that. It's a shotgun approach to leverage every dollar that we can to reach out to every business, every person in our community. And we're doing that. And, you know, thanks to the chamber, they have a huge workload that they're doing. And our partnerships are valuable within our community. So, Bob, you can expound on some of it you want. You gave me the softball, I'll hit it back to you. You know, what do you want me to say?
Well, I mean, thank you to you guys as a council for having the thoughtfulness to engage the community with this CARES money in ways that other communities are not doing that. So, you know, things like what we're doing with the small business technical support, it's just one piece of that bigger puzzle. And so you guys deserve a lot of credit because you've really thought outside the box in how to leverage this CARES money to really lift the community as a whole. So thank you, I guess.
Well, and to summarize, you know, these are one-time monies. So for right now, they're one time. You know, we have to use them by December 31st. So we want to get all the money out we can. Our public safety component, we're reaching out to them as well as giving them monies to implement some new programs to see what works, what doesn't work. More officers in specific areas. So again, it filters down to our transportation, to the services we provide our residents, even our parks department. I mean, yeah, it's all across the libraries, you know, it's all across the board. So it's just not one or two things. And kudos to staff and others because we are thinking outside the box. We're taking the black and white stuff that the federal government has given us, and we've expanded on it within those guidelines to provide ultimate services for those in our community. And it works for businesses that are doing well. If you need technical assistance, right? The chamber and others are there to help you. It's beautiful.
I have a quick question on the CARES. Is it nonprofits are applying for those funds, or is the city allocating those funds to certain nonprofits?
So the nonprofits apply in the process and we allocate monies to them.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, we're leveraging these dollars to get out in the community and especially the nonprofits. I mean, Sally, you might want to expand on that. What's your
I was just going to chime in just a bit because some of like the food banks, they're kind of in a different category. You know, the technical assistance piece, anybody can apply if they're a business or a nonprofit or a home-based business. But like the food banks have gotten, you know, kind of additional funding because obviously they've been front lines, right? So they've had to step up and make sure that food that's available and still is available. And I think that the goal is to go through the end of the year as long as they can get the commodities.
And we've written big checks out to Midwest
and United.
And I mean, they've gone out and bought food, you know, and they've put it in their warehouses so we can extend that food out through December and maybe even further. We've bought tractor trailers to storage in. We've bought tents. We've bought things to get food out. You know, if you think of the necessities in life, what do you really need to live in? You know, food, shelter, and just maybe a hug once in a while. So
someday, Jane, hugs.
Yeah, you know, Katie brought up the fact I couldn't remember all of them. Rental assistance, eviction prevention, residential utility assistance, again, the small business tech assistance, and then small business and nonprofit relief grants. Feeding Mesa is one of our biggest things. Have you ever seen the lines that are at the convention center? I mean, they're like lined up and they're all going in and it's seamless. I mean, kudos to Dave Richens and his group, the United Food Bank. They've got it dialed in, and all the volunteers that help, all the nonprofits, you as individuals, the church, faith groups, just people who want to help. It's all over there. So we're reaching out to every language in our community. We want them to be aware of that. So it's extremely important to us. Was I done screen sharing? I guess I was done screen sharing. So let's see. That's what I have so far. Any other questions about D1 or maybe the city in general?
I actually wanted to make a comment regarding your signs for the panhandling. In working with the nonprofits in the area in the past, I can tell you that the nonprofits would welcome a sign that would say, you know, give to your local nonprofits as opposed to panhandling. In fact, at the East Valley Men's Center, they have a big sign that says, if you're panhandling, don't return. In other words, they really prohibit panhandling there. So I'd love to send you an email with some ideas, but I really think that that's awesome.
What time's your meeting?
Linda, this is Joe Tansel with Paz de Cristo, and I also, I guess, echo your comments, and I guess I would just have to say I strongly encourage the use of those signs to discourage panhandling, since, you know, if you can direct
People say no.
individuals to the nonprofits and to the charity groups, they are organized and set up to provide that care. And, you know, I know people feel kind of almost obligated to give somebody some money that's panhandling, but you're then actually really circumventing the system that's in place to provide organized care and aid to those individuals. So I think it's a great idea.
Well, thank you. You know, people need options, right? I mean, I really feel uncomfortable. I know where that money's probably where it's going to go. And I don't like that. And I don't know if that this is, some people say, well, the signs won't work. But it gives people awareness and options to do and give and remind them, hey, there's nonprofits, there's out there helping these type of people. And I'll text some money or get some type of connection there with them. So I value your input. Again, katie.brown@mesaaz.gov. She has a 3 o'clock meeting about this today. So if you could shoot over some ideas. I mean, nothing's in concrete yet, but I have been able to identify a corridor. This is a pilot program, and I hope it helps somebody.
Can I tangent you a little bit and ask how harvest is going for you?
Well, if you go down, Bob, to Brown and Center Street, right now it's being laser leveled. I've got a piece of equipment. Anyway, we laser level all of our field. I farm, so come from a farming background. And currently we run a laser in the field, and it reads and measures and cuts the ground at the fall is 1/10 of an inch per foot. So I'll let you figure out in 100 feet how far that drops.
Wow.
Okay, every 100 feet it drops 1 inch. But anyway, everything's laser level. That's why we can we save our water. We use less water in our growing our crops. Currently, citrus season is about to start next month. So November is the beginning of Arizona citrus. It'll be fantastic. And then there's also some pecan, pistachio production on the Fort McDowell Indian Reservation, as well as Southern Arizona. Let's see. Right now, if you drive out on the Salt River Reservation between Horn and Gilbert Road, north of McDowell, is the organic crops that Russo Farms grows. So all their broccoli, their cabbage, carrots, cilantro, other leafy greens and other veggies they're going to start harvesting here in about 2 weeks. As well as on the north side of the Beeline, the Russo family farms up there about 6,000 acres. And a lot of it's conventionally farmed. It's a conventional farm that all that produce will start hitting. Carrots, your spring mix, sweet corn, they'll be growing some of that as well. So Bob, is that a good tangent for you?
I'm in. I'm waiting for the sweet corn from the Freeman farm. That's what I'm waiting for.
The best, the very best.
Next year, come on over.
Mark, can you talk a little bit about some of the committees and councils that you're on, boards that you're on?
Which ones? Well, I'm an elected official for SRP. I'm a council member for my respective district. There's 3 of us that are council members, and there's 1 board member. The council, we do all the, we approve all the bonds for purchase for SRP, as well as the financial packages for the president, vice president, and others, upper management. And so I serve on that board. I'm starting my 5th year with that. It's a 4-year term. It parallels the city council. Then I also serve as president of Maricopa County Farm Bureau. Currently, I'm in I think my last year, which will be in 21, and I've been on that board for the last 16 years. In fact, thanks, Bob. Did you call Maricopa County Air Quality Control this morning on me?
No, why would I have done that, Mark?
Well, the inspector was outside on the street watching the dust we were making, and so I pulled over and had to talk to him. So somebody called in an airstrike on me, and I'm thinking, here I farm all year, I tear up my ground, get it ready to replant, and you're calling in dust strikes on me? You know, it's like, people just, please be fair to the farmer. You know, I'm only going to make dust for 1 day. And anyway, I'm exempt from all the dust guidelines that other entities are. I serve as on the board of directors for a timeshare organization also in Flagstaff, Arizona, called Wyndham Timeshare, but we have a separate association up there. Our families lived in Mesa since 1877. So one of the first, my great grandmother, I knew her very well. She was born coming into the Salt River Valley in December 1877. So anyway.
And your favorite board that you serve on?
How could I forget? I am so grateful to be with the Mesa Chamber. I mean,
Just saying.
you've opened my eyes to so much. I mean, and it's great people. No, seriously, I've just been able to, a wealth of great information and great people who are awesome to work with. I serve on the Public Safety Committee and also the Audit and Finance Committee for the city. The mayor's appointed us in a rotation for those.
Mark, before I forget, we have, well, let me go back. We appreciate you being on our board. You know, we get the rotation of different council members, so it's nice to be able to work with all of you closely at some point and get to know you. But I was going to mention that our nonprofit council meets every 2 weeks, and you or Katie might want to jump on for a few minutes just to talk with that group, because usually we probably have close to 40 of our members that are on that call. And for the most part, they are the, you know, nonprofits in our community, and they may have some input for you about the signs.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
I'll send you a calendar invite here when we end this call. So, you know, if one of you or both of you can be on, I think that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, let us know when.
They're
Sure.
not shy. They'll give you input.
Well, and I don't want this to be offensive to anybody, but I just want to develop and let people know there's other options out there.
No, I think they would all appreciate that. And having the opportunity to have people go back and support those nonprofits like Joe was talking about, I think that's a positive. And frankly, it's a safety thing too, right?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Of course I have another question.
Okay, Bob's up it again.
So, Vice Mayor, you have the Cub Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So how are things going with the discussions of spring training? Do you know anything that you could share with us, or?
You know, Bob, I haven't heard any chatter at all. Yeah, I can't answer that. That's a good point. Maybe I'll follow up with the general manager. Joe? No, that Joe is over at A's. But anyway, I'll find out for you.
Justin.
Justin Piper, thank you. Yeah, I've got Justin's cell number. I'll call him and see what's going on.
Because I know there's a lot of uncertainty around that, so I thought maybe if they had started to formulate any sort of a plan and shared that with you.
Yeah, I don't know if the league has come to any conclusion on what they want to do. So, I mean, I'm sure they would have spring training.
Just whether or not fans.
Yeah, it'd be fans and, you know, maybe a certain number of people could come in. I don't know. We'll just figure it out.
I was on a call with the Hohokams last week with the on a board call, and I don't think anybody has any answers at this point. It's kind of, you know, we're on standby waiting to see what happens so we can motivate our folks to get out there. And I mean, everybody wants to volunteer, but it's like, at what level can you?
Yeah. Well, again, I think I'm thankful to be able to speak to everybody and having me on for lunch. And is there any, Sally, is there anything else that?
I don't know. Any other questions? If not, we can end a little early and let everybody get back to work. All right. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Katie, thank you for your help.
I guess one other.
Connie, thank you so much. Oh, yes, you had something, Mark?
Well, I'm just going to say question one is our transportation bond. We encourage people to vote for that. I talked to somebody yesterday who says, well, the city doesn't do anything with that money. They just kind of squander it. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's not, thank you, Sally. Look at that. Yes, on question one. Very good. But here's kind of in a nutshell. We're growing so fast in the southeast part of Mesa that we need infrastructure. We need our roads and intersections, and we have a lot of growth. We actually have some dealerships, some actual car dealerships that want to continue to move into Mesa, and we don't have any infrastructure for them. So having a car dealership is a huge sales tax revenue producing for our budget. But so people may not see what is happening immediately in the west part of Mesa, but it's all happening in the southeast part. But then we have a lot of projects throughout certain arterial streets that we'll be improving on in the central part of Mesa and West Mesa. So yes, question one, we're very frugal with that money. We're asking for $100 million, but because of Maricopa Associated Governments and because we're in the queue in the design phases, and as we bill them, we are reimbursed monies. We're being reimbursed about another $62 million out of the $100 million. So in other words, we can build $162 million worth of road infrastructure. And so I think that's a good use of our monies. And we need road improvements. We need businesses, the large businesses that move to Mesa, as you know, they provide a lot of financial impact to our community. If you've been to downtown Mesa, I'll brag about District 4. ASU building is looking, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's blowing it out of the water. There's about 4,500 apartments being built in downtown Mesa area. So there will be a huge change from Mesa Drive and Main Street all the way out to Dobson if some of those are completed. But we do know the Groves on Main will be completed. They're actually leasing apartments for November occupancy at Mesa Drive and Main Street, right? The grid is going west of Peace Fish and Chips. The Eco Lodge apartment complex is on Pepper. It's just south of the Idea Museum. There's some, we just, over by Lenhart's on 2nd Avenue. There's a apartment complex there. And then as well as condos across the street from Lenhart's at 1st Avenue and McDonald, the southeast corner. Just to say, stand by, I mean, downtown Mesa is exploding. I mean, it's, Councilmember Duff is really happy. We're getting new restaurants. We need to support those restaurants. What else can I say? I mean, in fact, we're going to go support them here after this meeting.
There's a lot of activity in Mesa in general, but if you haven't been downtown, I mean, the transformation it's pretty significant. We have cranes.
We do. You know, the transformation, but we have the transportation to do it. That's the key. When those students start coming from ASU on the train, on the light rail, I'm excited. I hope it displaces some of the other issues we have on the light rail, but it'll bring extra revenue to our, right now the city spends about $10 million. We write a check for $10 million for the operation and maintenance of the light rail. And those monies are offset by advertising, some gaming money from what I understand, and also the patrons who use the light rail.
Awesome.
Good things are happening. I'm excited to be here.
It's a good time to be here.